Welcome to Midnight Movie Talk live from Los Angeles on this Sunday night. We had an entire week off. We are rested. We are ready to go here, and we have a huge story to talk about on this Sunday evening spectacular. It is Avatar 2, passing the $2 billion mark worldwide. Now, I will freely admit I did not think this was going to happen. I thought we'd end up at about 185, 19, but you know I love theatrical. There's nothing that makes me more excited to see something outperform. We have a few things to talk about this weekend on that end, but we do have to get to the accomplishment of $2 billion straight to the Disney press release here on this Sunday night, directly from the Mouse House. All of the particulars in this film, Avatar: The Way of Water, cruising past $2 billion worldwide. Let's go to it. So domestically, Avatar has grossed about $600 million total domestic. Now, one thing I do want to point out, I was 100% correct on this. It's not going to beat Top Gun Maverick. Maverick, $715 million domestic. It's not going to happen, right? It still needs 115 to get there. That will not occur. So what we're seeing here with this film, we're going to get into all the particulars here. Give me a sec. Is that it's one of these weird films that is actually going to perform better overseas than here. Not to say that 600 million isn't smashing here in the United States, but it is strange to me as we celebrate this film hitting the $2 billion mark, that it's one of the quietest $2 billion films I have ever encountered in my life. I can tell you the number of times that I have come across people in everyday life talking to me about Avatar: The Way of Water. It's a grand total of 0 times. Okay? I'm just telling you the reality of it. Versus Top Gun Maverick, which everywhere I went, it was like, oh, have you seen Maverick? Of course I've seen Maverick. Seen it 3 times by now. And it's just, this film delivers. Oh my God, Maverick. Avatar's like, what? It just, people watch it and just stop talking about it. I've never seen a quieter $2 billion movie than Avatar: The Way of Water. Yeah, you knew I'd get a subtle dig in there somewhere. So that's what I think when we go back to this and look at the numbers. When I came out of the film way back when, it's been, what has it been? 2 months ago now for me. I said to myself, this film doesn't have it. I am not impressed by Avatar: The Way of Water. Obviously, the rest of the world was. Otherwise, we wouldn't be at $2 billion worldwide. A few more. Let's go through this. Remains the number 1 movie domestically for the 6th weekend in a row. 13th highest domestic release of all time, closing in on Incredible 2's $609 million. But again, it's not going to get to Maverick. No chance. It's not going to magically come up with $115 million. Unless we're going to leave this thing in here for 5 more years. Not going to happen. The 5th best 6th weekend domestically and above Black Panther's 17.1. I mean, Black Panther, obviously we're talking about the first, not the second. The first one was the sensation, the phenomenon, more so, much more so than we saw Wakanda Forever. Internationally, Avatar: The Way of Water has grossed around 1.426 in its 6th weekend. That is overseas. So you take that 1.4 and you add it to the 598 and you get to the 2 billion, just a little bit over. Let's continue down here. It remains the number 1 non-local movie in all international markets. I love how they do this. The studios like to say, listen, there's some local movies, i.e. made in our country here, not ours, but wherever the country is, that is number 1. But Avatar: The Way of Water is number 1 that is not a local film. In Arabia, Mexico, Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, on and on. It passed Infinity War to become the 4th highest international release of all time. That happened I think Friday. So this means James Cameron now has 3 of the top 4 highest grossing international movies of all time. It is the highest grossing international release of the pandemic era. And again, this is where this film is cleaning up in international markets. And what is the big key here? The fact that they had China. When you add China, let's go down. China is over 200. What's the number? Let me roll down. We're rolling down the email directly from Disney here. The stuff you don't get anywhere else. $230 million in China. So you subtract that and you were at, 1.8. And it's not going to get to 2 billion without China. Even with this thing still going, it stops at 1.9. So China was the missing piece of the puzzle. We figured it would be big. I actually thought it would be bigger than what we're looking at. They still are dealing with all that COVID crap over there that thankfully we've moved on from, right? Haven't we? Yeah, we have. France second at 130, Germany 117, Korea at nearly 97, UK at 82, and on we go. Also, one thing we want to mention here, and then we'll get to your comments on Avatar 2. We're going to play this. We're going to roll Avatar 2, get into 2 billion, go to your comments. Then we're going to go into Oscar picks, okay? We're going to do a little back and forth ping pong because we do have a huge Tuesday coming up with Oscar nominations. So I want to get into that along with additional box office. Big show tonight, the Sunday Night Spectacular at MMT. Thanks for joining us. Let's continue down the list. Let's go to IMAX. So here it is, IMAX. So 9 million in global IMAX box office this weekend alone. So it's 227 million worldwide in IMAX. That means it just passes this weekend The Force Awakens to become the second highest grossing movie in IMAX history. Number one is Endgame, of course. And it's very close to getting that. So sooner than later, it should have that record as well. But you can see on this sixth weekend, you're still at almost 20 million. And this dovetails into what I want to talk about, the fact that Theatrical is doing very well right now. We have a situation where we have Avatar at 2 billion worldwide. We have Otto holding at like a minus 30%, which is really strong. We have not seen an adult film, A Man Called Otto, come into the marketplace like this and perform the way it has in a while. I mean, you got to go back, I think, to the last Sony movie that did this, Where the Crawdads Sing. They've had very good success with these, heartland movies. Man Called Otto is a film that's going to play very well to quote unquote fly over America. So that is a beneficial thing for this film. And you saw that happen with Where the Crawdads Sing as well. So Sony has tapped into that market and it's done them quite well. But you also have, and we're going to talk about my review of Missing here shortly, but I do want to get some things before that. But Missing outperformed this weekend, got to 9 million. Projections, I had about 7.5. Some had it at like 5.5. 7.5, I think, was the good number on this. It went to 9. Theatricals, very strong right now. It's showing you that if you give people compelling product, hell, even half decent product like Missing, which is not a great film, but it's also entertaining enough. We'll get to that shortly. But you look at a $9 million opening, which I know doesn't sound like, oh, wow, that's not a huge number, but Plane, 10 million last weekend. Missing. I get the two confused. I just watched Searching for the first time the other day, so I still think they're the same film because they almost are the same film. Is it 9 million for Missing? So the only issue that we have is lack of compelling product like we always have in mid-January, late January, until we get to Ant-Man. When we get to Ant-Man 3, then we're going to have something to really talk about that thing's going to pop. I mean, that's going to be a big opening MCU. It feels like it's coming back, right, for that. And this is exactly the kind of film, a fun, throwaway Marvel film that we've been looking for. Wakanda Forever was definitely not that. So we are doing very well theatrically. To your comments, and then we get into Oscar picks here on this Sunday night. Whatever you want to talk about, let's roll. Happy New Year to you. Lunar New Year it is, of course. The Year of the Rabbit. Unspeakable tragedy here in Los Angeles. Just quick touch base on that. Just down the street. Literally, it's on my way down. When I head down to Orange County to play volleyball every weekend, I go right by the area of the shooting. So it touches close to home. Thank God the suspect is deceased and it's over with. But man, what a tragedy. But yes, happy Lunar New Year to you guys. Satvic, good evening to you. What do you think would be the highest grossing movie of 2023? MI7 for sure. That is the leader in the clubhouse until I see something different. That is what is going to be my pick for the number one film of the year, with Cruise coming off of Maverick, with a film that's going to travel to any country you want to take it to, right? I'm sure it'll get a China release. That'll help. And it should end up being the biggest grossing film of the year. Now, this year looks stacked. We looked through this thing. We did the whole weekend by weekend thing. And once you start hitting like June, July, you are cruising through some big films, okay? including Cruise in MI7. But you also have Marvel product this year with Guardians 3, which I think is going to be massive, right? I mean, that's Guardians is a tent-pole Marvel film, right? Marvel films are tent poles, but Guardians is a tent pole on top of the tent pole. That film's going to be massive, right? And then you have MI7 outperforming, and you've got things like Oppenheimer and Barbie in there. Oppenheimer's going to do well just based on Nolan. Just watch the trailer again, even though you guys know I don't like to watch a lot of trailers, but I do love the visual style of Nolan. How can you not? So just with the volume down, just watching his shot selections, his editing, even within of the trailer, it is just breathtaking. So I can't wait to see that one as well. I think this is setting up to be an amazing year, right? I mean, we're just seeing it. We're seeing films outperform across the board, no matter what it is, whether it's playing, whether it is missing, A Man Called Otto. These are all films that are doing 30% or better on their projections. That is a very strong indicator that we're in for a smashing 2023. Now, I do understand Regal's having issues. They're closing places down. No one's suggesting theatrical is free and clear. COVID did horrendous damage to the theatrical business. And the number one thing it did more than anything was eradicating the exclusive window, right? The 90-day window. When you squeeze a 90-day window down to 17, you're telling audiences to stay home and wait for 2.5 weeks and it'll be on. Or in the case of things like Halloween Ends, well, for God's sake, they should have just given that movie to everyone for free. What a piece of trash that film is. But you saw that with the day and date. I mean, how do you expect a film to do the same business theatrically when it's at home on Peacock you can get for $6 a month? Come on. Most people are going to take that option. The fact that it did the numbers it did shows that people want to see movies in movie theaters, which we've only been saying for the past forever here, that it's time to say that people want to get out of their house and go to the movies. Okay, let's stop having that conversation that people are scared. People are, fearful of heading to the movies for not knowing if they'll be able to come back home because they might not make it home safely. I mean, just stop. We're done. It's over. It's over. MI7. Ethan, it's over. A couple more comments. Let me go into the Oscar picks here tonight because we have that coming up on Tuesday morning. And I want to mention this, that on Tuesday morning, 2 options. I want you guys to vote. You have 2 options. Option 1, Tuesday morning, stream here live, MMT, in the morning. 2, I'm going to jump on with Gore on his Film Threat channel, and I'm going to break things down there. So you have 2 options for that. Is going to be on Tuesday morning. It's going to be huge, okay? You guys know I know this stuff inside and out when it comes to Oscars. We're going to get to it in a moment, and you'll see. Box office, you know I love it. But awards, that's what I started with. That's my bread and butter. So we're going to roll with that on Tuesday. Let me know what you want to see, here or there. Either way, I'm going to be on. Gore's just going to have to be quiet because I'm going to take over and just start talking. Like, dude, just go back to your own show. Brian, good evening to you. Ant-Man 3 and Black Panther 2 are getting China releases, so it might be safe to say Guardians 3 could be open there as well. It really comes down to, remember, like all these films, and I know you know this, DR, when you look at the film, is it going to pass the Chinese censors? Is it going to have anything objectionable in it? And that's the issue. So we've seen that happen many times before in the past year with Disney, right? So if that happens, then it's not going to happen. But if there's nothing in there that they find objectionable, whether you find it objectionable or that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about whether China does, and we know that's a little different over there. Straight communism. Then they will say this is how it is, and we will allow this. So if it happens, huge, as we're seeing here with 230 million alone in China for Avatar: Way of Water, that money is crucial. It does not get to 2 billion without it. That's how important that market is. Every large market that you throw in there internationally is essential to these films making another 100, 200, 300 million dollars. Russia. I mean, we haven't had Russia in play since, we all know, going back to Ukraine, that whole situation, Russia was extracted. We go back to the Batman. And when you take that money, Russia's one of the largest markets out there, right? So when you remove it, you're going to come up short in the cash that you normally would have. Okay, leave the politics out. I'm only talking about the cash in the country, right? That's what we're talking about. Couple more, and let's go right to the Oscar picks. Get me your picks too, right now in the comments. What you think will be the biggest shock come Tuesday morning? We are going to have Oscar nominations at 5:30 in the morning out here. It's going to be very early, and I am going to be like half awake wherever I am, whether here or there. I'm be like, yeah, okay, who? Every time I do one of these shows, the Oscar shows in the morning, I have to double take because I'm barely awake, and I'm looking, going, wait a second. Is Jennifer Lopez not there for Hustlers? I remember that morning because we all she's getting in. Jennifer Lopez is totally getting in for Hustlers, and you look and you're like, is her name? I don't think I see her. That's what's going to happen on Tuesday morning. Let's go to a couple more comments and then we go to Oscars. Here we go. Safik again, Fast X. 1.1 billion for sure because that film travels to China. That film travels across the world very well. 9 was, oh my God, F9, such a terrible film. Let's pray that X is at least semi-watchable and dials down the absurdities, which, by the way, we're getting to in Missing in my review. Oh my God. Some of the things in Missing, I'm just sitting there going, are you kidding me? Indy 5, of course, 900 million. You're saying, of course, overseas. Oppenheimer, Barbie, Dune, Blue Beetle. I mean, that could outperform. Flash. I think Flash does well, whether it's part of the DCU, or it's not. And we know pretty much now it's not. But it's still The Flash. It's still a DC property. It will still do better numbers than Black Adam, right? Come on, we got to admit that. Aquaman 2, huge. So this year's just going to be insane. I mean, it really is. It's going to be one of the best years ever theatrical this year and next year, barring another attempted lockdown by our elites out there. Uh-oh, Eric's dipping into... Watch out, here come the politics. I don't know if I can handle it. Let's get into the Oscars picks here on this Sunday night. We roll to my site. It is Awards Ace. We'll go back, get to your comments, whatever you want to do here tonight. We got plenty of time. Let's go to awardsace.com. You guys know editor-in-chief right here. And we roll into, let's start with the number one, the biggest of them all, the granddaddy of the categories. It is Best Picture. As you go, are you guys shocked that as Google is, I'm on my own site, it is pushing football kits to me? Soccer jerseys, right? Because literally I was just looking at these. This is my life. It's like, oh, yeah, I got it. Okay, yeah. Here we go. Best Picture contenders. Let's make it large. Let's make me really small. Well, let's just at least leave me on the screen somewhere. There we go. Okay, the number one film right now to win Best Picture is The Fabelmans. I don't care what you tell me. That is what it is. Whether Everything Everywhere All at Once, just one Critics' Choice, and it got the BAFTA. All these things are there for it. But Fabelmans, with the Golden Globes win, knowing it's old school Hollywood, even though The Fabelmans is not a great film, I'm not going to get into that again. I can't do it. I just can't discuss Fabelmans anymore. It is the leader in the clubhouse. I still have Top Gun Maverick number 2. These are the films that are in, okay? Here are the films that are going to get nominations on Tuesday morning. Fabelmans, Maverick, Banshees, EEAAO, Elvis, Tar, Avatar, Glass Onion, and Black Panther. Those are my top 9, okay? Now, one of the reasons they're my top 9, they always pretty much were, except for I did slide Black Panther up. I had it at like number 11. I slid up to 9. Because once they land those PGA, we did the whole show. Remember? What was the rate of PGA nominations to Best Picture over the past decade plus? 88%. That means that 90% of the PGA nominees are going to get in based on those statistics. That means there's your 9. My 10th film, I have great faith in the Academy to recognize that the 10th best film, I think it's better than that, but the number 10 film deserves to go to Women Talking. Terrible title. Don't make me do it again. Should be called The Colony. Not going to go over it for the 100th time here on MMT. But Women Talking is your number 10 film. Now, if by some chance Women Talking is left out and we go to the next in line, the next in line for me is All Quiet on the Western Front. Okay? That is a Netflix film. That is a film that's picked up a ton of BAFTA love. It's also going to be a very strong player in international feature, very likely winner there. and we go to The Whale after that. Now, The Whale did get the PGA, but I think that the Oscar voters are going to come to their senses and realize The Whale is an abysmal film, and absolutely one of the worst films of the year. My worst film of 2022 was The Whale. If it gets a Best Picture, an embarrassment for everybody. That's why I'm leaving it out. Please say they're right. Beyond that, the next up would probably be Babylon, and then RRR. RRR is not getting in. Okay, guys, I hate to tell you this. Everyone who loves RRR, they're going to say RRR is going to get in. It's not going to get in. Do not believe that. If it happens, I will be so excited. Okay, on Tuesday morning, nothing would make me more excited to see that film get a Best Picture. It's not going to happen. It's just not. So don't listen to these people that are saying it's the number 10 film. You know why they're saying that? There's a lot of people out there saying they want the likes. They want R is going to get in. And then what happens is when it doesn't, no one goes back and says, but you said this. So I'm just telling you guys, it's not getting in. Woman King is there. It's even though, look, Woman King has nothing. As you guys know, everything in parentheses next to the film are the nominations it has elsewhere. SAG, Golden Globes, Critics' Choice. Woman King has nothing. But it still is there because it's in play for director as well. She said, I can't even believe that we're talking about a film that is as strong as she said about Hollywood. Hollywood just doesn't want to acknowledge Harvey Weinstein. But at this point, just do it, man. They did a very classy job on that film. Very well-made film. Very much like Spotlight. I'm not going to argue that. But it's strong. It should be there. And it's not. It's not going to get in. And then we have Living. And then beyond that, nothing else has a shot. Everything beyond this, After Sun, Pinocchio. I have Living twice. Okay, Living's the last. I got to get rid of that. That's an editor error by me. But these are the only films that have a chance. These Women Talking, All Quiet, The Whale, Babylon, RRR, The Woman King, She Said, and Living, all battling for the number 10 spot. Your 9 nominees are right there. Those are your 9 Best Picture nominees. The 10th is in limbo, but I'm telling you, Glass Onion's in because Netflix will not be denied. Netflix will not be denied. All right, let's go to another category. Then we'll get some comments. Let's go to Best Actor. Let's get to the top 2. You guys are very much, I hope you're aware of this. The top 2 are Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser. Followed closely behind by Colin Farrell, okay? Those 3, 1,000% locked. 1,000% locked in, okay? Number 4, Bill Nye for Living. I think he's in for sure because you have the BAFTA, you have SAG, you have Golden Globe, you have Critics' Choice. You have the main 4 precursors you've got for the acting, right? So that's in. And here's my 5th, and I'm telling you it's going to happen because it's time. It is time. Hollywood knows it. It was the biggest film in America in 2022. He's the reason it was as successful as it was and as strong as it is. It is Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick. He is your number 5, okay? Now, if for some strange, unforeseen reason that Tom Cruise does not get in, your next in is going to be Paul Mescal for After Sun. Why? It's between Sandler and Mescal. The reason I'm going to put Paul in, you guys, first of all, it's very hard for me to say Cruise over Mescal because you know how much I love After Sun. But I feel like Paul Mescal's got plenty of opportunities to come. He is a young actor. He's going to be in Gladiator 2. He's going to be in all these things. We're going to be talking about Paul Mescal in awards for like ever. Okay. So as such, I'm going to leave him out. Sandler with that bizarre SAG nomination. Like, what the hell was that all about? Oh, that's right. Netflix is showing the SAG Awards. Isn't Hustle a Netflix movie? That's it. Those are your 7. And I think your 5 are at the top, and you got a split, and you got the 2 underneath. That's what we have. Okay, let's go to Best Actress, and then we'll go into comments, and then we can do a few more categories. Whoever else is out there, I know there's other people who do this. Don't listen to them. They say what they think they're supposed to say instead of what the reality is. You guys know from watching MMT that we don't deal in what we should say. If that was the case, then first of all, you guys wouldn't have any respect for what I do. You'd be like, that guy's a shill. And we already talked about how many shills there are out there. No, this is unbiased absolutely objective looking at this, saying these are the people that are going to get in for sure. Cate Blanchett's going to win. She better win. I told you about Tar. I mean, come on. It's the best performance we've seen in over a decade. I would argue in almost any acting category, but certainly an actress. So she's in. Michelle's in for EEAO. Viola Davis, Woman King. Man, I'll tell you, I did not expect this to happen. I think that I knew Viola Davis was certainly respected in Hollywood. Okay. And she also shops at my nearby Vons, as I saw her in the biscuit aisle or whatever. It was like she was looking, I believe, at English muffins, if I remember correctly. She was there when I was shopping a few weeks ago. But that's not why she's number 3. She has SAG, BAFTA, Golden Globe, and Critics' Choice. She's in. But Viola Davis, just the name alone, I don't think The Woman King is a particularly great film. I think it's fine. I think it's like a 7 for me. It's definitely not a best picture. I think Viola is not. The best part of that is the Embedu, the young girl, youngish girl. She looks a lot younger than she actually is. I think she's 30. She looks like she's like 18. She's fantastic. Anna's in for Blonde, and that's got to speak to Netflix. Netflix, again, has an unlimited war chest that they will just spend so much cash and make sure things happen. It's how they operate. You guys know I'm not a huge Netflix fan at all. They don't have a theatrical component. Why would I be cheering for Netflix for anything? Without theatrical, no. It's a no from me. But she's going to get in because she has 3 of the 4. And Danielle Deadwyler, for a performance in Till, that in any other year, you would have her right up at the top of the chance to win. But against Kate and Michelle, Danielle does not have a chance. But the fact she gets the nominations for Till, a film that did not perform very well in the marketplace, and a lot of people have still not seen Till, but she is the reason to see it. Danielle Deadwyler is unbelievable. And then we have Michelle Williams, who at one time looked like she was in. Thank God that it looks like voters have finally come to their senses and say, Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans is a Razzie performance, not an Oscars performance. Razzie. Therefore, she is left out. Margot Robbie, Babylon, best thing in a terrible film. I mean, oh my God. That's even too kind. Terrible is way too kind for Babylon. That is literally an affront to filmmaking, that film. Damien Chazelle used to love you. Now I do not trust you ever again, at least until your next film and you prove me wrong, because Babylon sucks ass. Emma Thompson, the reason she's here for a film that is really no one's even seen. Good luck to you, Leo Grant. A movie that didn't get a theatrical component. It was put on Hulu. It was a Searchlight movie they put on Hulu. But the reason is BAFTA, and BAFTA's got a bunch of voters in the Academy. She's going to be on the list. She's not going to get it. And then Empire Light. Listen, guys, I've told you, there's one film this year that got disrespected in every which way. Not a great film, but in a year like this, where we're looking at films that are average, right? When we're talking about The Woman King for Best Picture, you're going to tell me that Empire Light can't at least compete with The Woman King? Are you kidding me? Empire Light, from a filmmaking perspective, just literally unloads on The Woman King. It's not even a contest between those two. If you put Empire Light versus Woman King in a tech-on-tech battle, Empire Light, it's a one-punch TKO. But yet, Empire Light's not good enough for anybody. But we knew Olivia Colman wasn't getting in this year, not because she's not fantastic in a film that has tons of flaws. It's that she's been there too much. She just won for The Favorite not too long ago, 3 years ago, right? So at this point, it's like that's who gets left out. Is when you have yours, especially so recently, you knew she wasn't getting in. That is the 3. Those are the top 3. Let's do director and then we go comments. Director, comments, and then we can continue. I've got every single category is ready to go. In all of these, the top 5 are ready. Here we go. Director, Steven Spielberg, Fabelmans, boom, in. No question, he's going to win this thing not because The Fabelmans, the film, because the name Steven Spielberg. That's how we do awards now. We award people a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, based on the name, the pedigree, the filmography, and the stature of the person versus the actual film. The Fabelmans, which is one of the worst awards films this year. A sappy, artificial, absolutely snooze fest. I mean, what a poorly made film too. If he wins for best director there, that'll be funny as hell. I'll be like, dude, you just won for your worst film. This is Steven Spielberg's worst film. His worst film. Okay. Then you have the Daniels, EEAO, which is just caught fire. Obviously, we knew that it was going to do well. It's coming on. It's got the Critics' Choice win. Don't get me started on Critics' Choice. And then who left Kaczynski out? We have McDonough. We have Field. Field should be winning this. Field and Tar, best direction this year. Period. And then Kaczynski has to get in. Those are the 5 DGAs, by the way. Directors Guild of America. Those are your 5. I'm going to stick with those. I think that makes the most sense. If the Academy does what I pray it doesn't do. Let me tell you what I pray does not happen. I pray that on Tuesday morning, the Academy does not go, we have a bunch of guys. We have to get a woman in. I can't stand that thinking. And before you go, oh, Eric, you are not being correct here. You're being un-PC. What's my number 2 film of the year? What was my number 1 film of the year a year and a half, 2 years ago now? Was it 2 years? Saint Maud, number 1 of the year, directed by a woman, Rose Glass. Aftersun, Charlotte Wells, a woman. So don't tell me that I don't value female directors. But if you're going to sneak a woman in, there is only one. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. That's a mistake by me. There are 2 you can pick from. 1, Sarah Polley, Women Talking. And 2 is Charlotte Wells, Aftersun. That's it. There's nobody else. Okay? I've seen them all. There's nobody else better than those 2. And I would personally put Sarah Polley in over the Daniels just for the back end of EEAO, okay? That's me. But what I'm going to say is that we shouldn't be in a place where we are, because we look at our 5, we go, wait, this is too many guys. Too many guys. We got to have a woman in. What? Well, I don't even understand that thinking. You guys help me with that. I need someone to explain it to me. Explain to me why we need to. No, we are picking the best people. Not best men, not best women. The best people. The best directors of the year. I always take it back to sports. Can you imagine if tonight during one of the playoff games, take your pick, Bengals, Bills, Niners, Cowboys. You know what? We don't have enough people with the letter G in the game. We got to go get Gary. Gary's got to get in the game because we don't have enough G's. Like, it's the same thinking. We got to have somebody who has this, that ticks a box. No, we don't. We are picking the best people, period. End of discussion. There's nothing more to say on that. I am 100% right. I will not be told otherwise. We will always pick merit. That's how it goes. So my top 5 directors of the year, Charlotte Wells is in there, and so is Sarah Polley. But if the Academy doesn't have it that way, then that's fine. I'm not going to cry about it. If they really believe that these are the 5 best directors, and they're all dudes, the last thing it's going to happen. I don't think I'm going to be able to get on Twitter that morning. Oh, look at the Academy. No women. Oh, they hate women directors. They're terrible people. Look at these people. That's what we do now. What if they, hold on, just let's time out. What if they actually thought for a second, these are our 5 best directors and didn't consider gender in this situation? Can you even imagine a world where people don't do that? Where people just go, these people are great. Again, sports. You ever watched a team go, oh, you know what? We have too many of this. We need to have something in here. What? No, the best people are playing. Guys, I'm 1,000,000% right. You guys know I am. Give me a like. There is no other way to see that. There is no other way to see that. We are not trying to wedge someone in because it's overloaded on one way or the other. And conversely, if there were 5 women directors that are the best of the year, I'm not going to say we have to have a guy. These are the 5 best directors, period, man. It's not how I've never evaluated a film higher or lower based on the sex of the director. Ever. Why? What? It's so stupid. Honestly, I don't even understand the mentality of that person. It's a weak mentality. Pick on merit. End of discussion. That's it. There's nothing more to say. I'm 100% right. She deserves to get in. She's the best. Exactly. Not because she's a woman. Charlotte Wells deserves to get in, not because she's a woman, because she directed a damn near masterpiece in After Sun. The fact she's a woman is inconsequential. It doesn't matter. You guys, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've never in my life said this movie is better or worse because it's a dude or a woman who directed it. The hell, man? God, that makes me so angry. It really, you guys could tell, because it should. The merit is, people work hard. And I want to value somebody for what they do and the value they bring and their talent, God-given talent they were given. And last I checked, we weren't able to decide what sex we were. So you're born whatever. Oh, okay. Watch out. Forget it. I'm not going down this road. Forget it. I'm done. I'm not doing it, man. Oh, I can't even believe I'm not going to do it. Exactly. Rusty, this is what we'll see on Tuesday if it happens. Oscar's so male. Like, God, you guys imagine a world where you just valued the person versus the sex. You know, I would hope you guys watch MMT because you enjoy the content or whatever. You don't want, he's a guy. Who cares, man? It's a person. We're all people. Come on, man. There's an award show. All the categories are gender neutral, and dudes swept the acting. I mean, yeah, that whole. I'm not. Listen, we've done actor actress forever, and all these critics groups that want to do this. Let's lump everybody into one, and everyone gender neutral. I'm like, I mean, it's just like, it's so virtue signally to me. I can't stand virtue signaling. It just makes me almost violently ill because it's so like, it's so, like I said, I'm so virtuous because I think this is the way it should be. And you're just like, dude, just do your thing. You don't need to announce to the world that you are pro whatever. I mean, you can obviously do that, but don't make that your whole identity too, right? I'm saying I don't play in the middle. Be neutral about your selections. Who's the best director? Not that hard. Not that hard. Animotion. You should be a little worried that After Sun's not going to get anything because I think for screenplay, let's pull up screenplay. For screenplay, it has a very good shot. I think it's. Let me pull up the numbers. Let's go to original screenplay. Original's always going to be tough. You know, it's always going to be a tougher for me than adapted. I think it just tends to be. When you look here, it's right there. It's right on the borderline. Okay, so when we look at original screenplay, we are looking at Banshees in, Fableman's in, Tar, EEAO. The fifth spot, like all of these, is the one that is up for grabs. Now, because of the BAFTA, I have Triangle of Sadness. But After Sun is close. I mean, it's right there. I think Elvis is behind that. But if you look at the precursors, the top four are in for sure. Triangle of Sadness, if it gets that, it'll probably be the only thing unless Dolly gets in for supporting. But I think that it has a shot, man. I have to stick with Triangle because that's what I have in there. But if After Sun doesn't land there, it's gonna get nothing. And it's going to be a shame, but remember something about After Sun. It's a tiny film directed by a woman. So, you know, I mean, you have to discard it right off the bat because it's directed by a woman. Can you imagine it? I mean, that's how some people think. Like imagine that. Imagine like having that brain. It's just insane to me having that brain. The reason you didn't like After Sun is directed by a woman. I can't. I didn't even think we'd go here tonight, but now I'm like, you know, this is what happens on MT. I just all of a sudden started going off on something because it's so ludicrous. And the worst part of it is the fact that the people who accuse you of that crap, they act like they know what you're thinking. Where if you know me, anybody who knows me knows I'm a merit-based person. The best wins. Saint Maud, number one film of the year. After Sun, number two. Both directed by women. End of discussion. Period. Hey, good evening to you, Pilgrim. No, I'm not going to Slam Dance. I didn't not Sundance, obviously. I prefer, and thank you for the super chat, by the way. I prefer watching these films as they are ready to be released, as they're in the barrel, right? So you go back to last year's Sundance, Emily the Criminal. Everyone was talking about that film back in January. The problem is that Emily the Criminal didn't come out until August. So all that buzz in Sundance didn't do it any good when it came out theatrically, and I was like the only person who supported it multiple times at my local AMC. It did zero box office essentially. I mean, very low. Because film Twitter loves to be so far ahead of the curve, right? I've seen all the movies in Sundance, therefore I know more than no, you don't know any, you don't know more than anybody. You're talking about something that no one's going to be discussing for months because the majority of these films aren't going to see the light of day for a while, especially the ones that are up for bidding, right? The ones that are going to be purchased are going to be, put under the label as we saw with Coda and then they push it and shove it off until August. So you've got 6-7 months to sit on it. So I would rather watch these films as they come out. Same with festivals in the fall. I want to see them closer to their release so that when I'm doing a stream with you guys, the week of release, that's different. Doing a stream about a film like 2 months early, like we did the Babylon one, it just isn't really a good service to anybody because you guys want to know what it is and talk about it. I get it a little, but you can't do spoilers. You can't do any of that stuff. So I'd rather see it closer to release day. But I would like to see some of those films. I'll tell you that my favorite finds are always those small, tiny little indie films that show up at a slam dance, at a Sundance. I mean, I go back to one of my favorite films of 2 years ago now, Funny Face. Oh my God. I mean, I love that film. I think it's one of the best films that year. Tiny little film. It didn't even get a theatrical release. But these are the films I go back to. After Sun, Saint Maud. These are smaller. No, I know it's A24 films. But I like small, grounded films. Always have, always will. So, Emily Criminal, small, grounded, right? I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. If it's a small, grounded film, there's a very good chance I'm going to like the film, especially if it's done well. The Whale is a small, could have been grounded film that is a train wreck. That's the thing that's so unbelievable at The Whale is that the film that I expected was a small grounded film. It's small and completely ungrounded and completely ridiculous. And that's why the film's terrible. If that film is, again, I've already told you guys how to rewrite the film and make it better. It's clearly to put him anywhere but that apartment and then to have him interacting with people in the small town versus like stuck in that apartment was terrible. What a bad film. God, what a terrible film. Literally terrible. Let's go more comments and then let's do a couple more categories. Let's do the big six and then we're going to roll on to whatever you want to talk about here on this Sunday night. I mean, I spent literally 10 minutes talking about female directors because I just can't. I can't do that anymore. It drives me insane. It's going to happen on Tuesday. It's going to happen and I'm going to lose my mind again. I'm going to go crazy because it's insane to me. That mentality. No, you just don't like female directors. Okay, that's right. After Sun's not one of the best films of the year. Who cares who directed After Sun? The film is unfucking believable. I don't care who directed it. Oh, it's a woman? Awesome. It's great. That doesn't make it better. It makes it just the same film. Right? Right? Oh, you're speaking too much sense, Eric. Again, what's wrong with you? Okay, best supporting. Our winner in this category has already been decided. It's Angela Bassett. We know that. Here's the thing: is we rolled in closer. You start to look at this. It's kind of a weak category this year. I think that for sure, just the name. This is the way to honor Wakanda Forever. It'll be its only win of the night. Maybe costume, but I think it's going to go. This is the only one, and then it makes sense. It's the best. If you're going to honor that film, for me, it's the best choice. Even though some would say Angela Bassett's role is not large enough, but we've seen supporting winners in tiny roles. Like it happens. Okay, so Carrie Condon's in for Banshees, Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere, and Stephanie's in for EEAO. And I think that our fifth is going to be Carey Mulligan, She Said. And that might end up being its only nomination, which will be a real travesty because I told you guys, She Said is a much better film. Forget the box office. We don't care. We don't equate box office with quality of film, okay? We discuss box office and we talk about those things, but we don't say, oh, She Said's terrible because it bombed. No, what? Why? Why does that matter? Doesn't matter. Carrie's probably in. If not, it's going to go to Hong for The Whale or Dolly for Triangle of Sadness. That's going to be the fifth spot. And, women talking at one point, I really thought Jessie Buckley and Claire Foy might both get in. Now it looks like they're both going to get out. If Women Talking gets a Best Picture, maybe a Best Director, Sarah Polley, I'd be thrilled. Are you kidding me? Not because it's a woman director, because Women Talking is one of the best films of the year. Do you see the difference? Do you guys see the difference? You guys see the difference, right? I'm not picking Women Talking as one of the Best Picture and Best Directors because it's directed by a woman. I'm picking it because it kicks total ass and the direction is really strong. Not because it's directed by a woman. It's God, guys, help me. Tell me. Swear to God, tell me where I'm wrong. I can't wait. I can't wait till someone comes in and tells me you're so well. How? Tell me how. You can't. That's why. Mr. G movie reviews. Both EAO girls won't get in together. Fine. Let's roll. Listen, I say they will. You say they won't. We'll find out Tuesday morning, whether I'm here or on Film Thread. I will let you guys know. You'll get an alert. Sign up, get the alert. If we're on at like 5 in the morning. Okay, here on MMT, which is I'm going to be half awake. Okay, everything's going to look the same, and I'm going to be like this. So today, just give me a second to wake up. I thought I turned off my mic. That'd be bad. I say they both get in. I do. It's just a weak year. I mean, I just feel like that absolutely can happen. Spencer, I'm running up and down the stairs. If The Fabelmans wins Best Picture, I am going straight over to AMC Burbank, live stream, me going up and down the stairs. Wait, hold on. To be clear, if this happens, I'm only going 45 times up and down. So in other words, it's not 45 times up and down. It's 45 times 1 is up, 2 is down, 3, 4, right? Like that. Okay. I will do it. And I will absolutely be able to do it. Okay. I will live stream it. And I swear to God, it'll be crazy. But I'm telling you right now that I'm probably going to have to do it because it's going to win 45 times. It's going to win. I mean, you got to be kidding me. When Avatar 3 comes out, we can do a 3 hour. We did that 3-hour episode, the opening Friday, and I was just going off about how it was underperforming because it was at the time, you guys. It was. Okay, let's talk about Missing. Okay, and we can get back into whatever you want to do in a moment because it will be open comment time. I had a chance to see Missing, which is the sequel to Searching, which is the Screen Life Films, right? The same producer of this did Unfriended, did Searching, did Unfriended Dark Web, did Profile. Now, Profile is a really good film. Okay, I think it's by far the best of the Screen Life films, right? Everything that takes place in the computer screen. And Unfriended is a cult classic to me. I adore that film. Okay, I've watched that film 10 plus times. There's just something just haunting about it, truly, right? But also just the sparse. I love the fact that there's very little score. It's almost like you're watching someone on a computer just have a word. And all these little conversations, right? Skype, that's how old that film was. But when we get to Missing, I think the first thing you notice about Missing is it's virtually identical to Searching. Okay, so the only thing the producers and the writers did this time is they literally flipped. The daughter is looking for the mom. In Searching, the dad was looking for the daughter. So we flip. We now have the kid looking for the parent. Okay, so the daughter's looking for the mom who's gone missing after meeting a dude on a dating website. And then what happens throughout the movie is actually, I will say, entertaining. But just like Searching, you remember Searching at the end where it all comes out, the detective was involved and everyone's like, what the hell? That whole thing, okay? When the film goes to that kind of ridiculousness, and I definitely believe Missing does the same thing, you go, man, all you had to do was dial down the stupidity, the ridiculousness of it. Just take it down from an 11 to like an 8. But Missing, like Searching, does the same thing. That third act falls apart with eye-rolling absurdities and ridiculousness that makes you go, I'm sorry, this has taken me out of the film. But I still, as with all of these Screen Life films, been entertained by them. They are a very nice little 95-minute diversion. Good runtime, keeps you engaged, doesn't get boring. Editing's very strong here. I think it's gotten better over the life of these Screen Life films. You look at the assembly, it's really slick in this film. So that always will work with me too. So I'd give Missing a 7.5, okay, which is pretty solid for me. I mean, for an entertaining night out at the theater, a film that outperformed this weekend at 9 million. So more, bring on more screen life. Give me something more though along the line of Profile, which was the journalist meeting up with the ISIS, right? That thing was dark. The guy who played the ISIS leader, hell of an actor. We had him in supporting for Sunset Circle, a nomination. That's how strong he is in Profile. Really cool film. It's a Focus Features film from, was it 2 years ago now? Watch Profile. Great film. It is open comment time here on this Sunday night. I do want to mention a couple things. Okay. So we have Oscar nominations on Tuesday morning, either here or on the Film Threat channel. I'll let you guys decide, or I'll just make my own mind up and either show up on Chris's or just be here. We will talk live about the nominations, MMT in the morning. Now, I also want to mention tomorrow night, I am seeing Infinity Pool, which I'm hearing some wild things about. I am not super high on Brandon Cronenberg based on Possessor. And the reason I'm not, we'll get into it tomorrow night when we have a review only of Infinity Pool. That's the only thing we're doing tomorrow. Probably going to be a nice little tight stream talking only about Infinity Pool. But the problem I have with Possessor is the fact, and I say, I have a line that you do not cross in cinema. And that line is violence against little kids. And at the end of Possessor, if you've seen the film, Neon film from a few years ago, there is a dream sequence, right? Because a lot of it's in the VR, that the kid gets his head completely blown off. Okay. Like just incredibly graphic, violent of this little kid getting his head blown up, like literally into pieces. Scanners, right? So when you watch it, I just go, I'm done. It's over. It's over. You cross the line and I'm out. So I have a feeling there's some things in Infinity Pool that I might have a problem with. And that is going to be a subjective thing, right? So I'm going to try to remain objective, but I will tell you that once you cross certain lines with me, then I can't be. I have to roll that over into this is abhorrent. And I hope I don't have to do that tomorrow. But Infinity Pool tomorrow night, a little after 9. Screenings at 7 will be on. We're only going to talk about that. It's the only thing coming up tomorrow is going to be that, which is going to be a review of Infinity Pool, which opens this weekend for Neon. Alex, good evening to you. Late to the stream. Notice you moved a few things on Awards Days thingy. Listen, Everything Everywhere absolutely has a shot to win Best Picture. I still believe that the problem that film is going to have is on a preferential ballot. It's going to end up pretty high on some, and it's going to end up pretty low on others. What you're looking for on a preferential ballot is a film that is going to be near the top of any given voter's ballot. Therefore, it has the best shot of being in there as they start to remove films based on who has the least amount of number 1 votes, number 2 votes, as they start breaking it down and trying to get that, whittling it down to get the winner. And I think EEAO is going to struggle with that top-bottom situation, whereas Maverick is going to be up in that top 3 on almost everyone's ballot. Who's going to have Maverick in the 10 hole? Other than Scott Mendelson, but he's not an Academy voter, by the way. Wow. I love Scott Mendelson, but wow. A rotten to Top Gun Maverick. That is, as they say, a choice. But Maverick is going to be in the top 3 of everyone's, right? Maybe 4 on one ballot. 4. But EAO is a film, look at me. So if I'm filling out a preferential ballot, my number 1 film of all of these, say it with me, Tar. Then I would probably have, of the films that are in the running, Top Gun Maverick would probably be 2 for me. And then we'd roll it all the way down. If we are looking at 10 films and EAO is one of them, it's number 10 for me. It's not one of the worst films of the year, but it's by far one of the most overrated for me. So I have it in the 10 spot. That's going to drop that way out. Maverick's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's why it's going to do better. So no, I don't think it's going to win. And Fabelmans will be up in the top 2, even though it's not a good film. But it's Steven Spielberg, so it is good. Because remember, kind of like voting for a woman director, think about this. Because you're doing kind of the same thing. You're not voting for the actual merit of the film. You're voting for the person, the idea, the sex, as we've discussed here tonight. No, 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 no. We're voting for the best film, the best direction of that film. And it's not The Fablemans. The Fablemans is Spielberg's worst film, one of. If it's not the worst, it's right up there at the bottom three. And you've got it going to win for best director? No, no, no. I don't care if this is Spielberg's last film. You can't give him an Oscar for this. It's not a good film. But yet that's the world we live in, right? We check boxes. Oh, it's Steven Spielberg. Let's give him an Oscar. Let's give him a lifetime achievement Oscar for a film that's not good. It's Fablemans is in The Whale and in Babylon. These are bad films, okay, bad. And the fact that we're even discussing them in the Best Picture race is just like, what a joke. Uh, no, that's what I just said, William. I totally just that's exactly maybe we're doing this live. That's what I'm saying. That's what we do, and I don't like that. I hate that. I hate that thinking. I think BAFTA nailed it. They didn't even have him up in the short list, right? In the long list, I should say. The long list of BAFTA, they didn't even have Spielberg because it's not good. That's why they know. They had it in film, which you shouldn't be, because that is the same thing we talked about. It's not based on merit. I don't want to operate like that. I will never operate like that. You'll never get me. You know, when I come out of a movie, I'm going to give it its due objectively, and I'm going to stay as removed from politics as possible, aside from if Brandon Cronenberg blows a young kid's head off. Then I'm going to say, I think we have an issue. Okay, that's different. Okay, but I'm never going to value a film more or less because of the director. If Nolan directs it, I mean, yeah, it's going to be hard. I will admit, it's very difficult to watch a film from a filmmaker you love, but I can quickly dispel this. You ready? So a great example is I went into Babylon going, this is Damien Chazelle. There's no way, I don't care what's going to happen here tonight. There's no way that this film will not be really strong. And then 15 minutes and I go, oh, fuck, I'm wrong. Like, I am so wrong right now. And then it just got worse. So, no matter what you take into the theater, even if you take in a shred of too much of like Damien Chazelle's grade or Nolan or Bong or whoever you want to use, okay? Let's use Charlotte Wells' next film or Rose Glass's next film. I will be, yes, a little more amped because it is Rose Glass, but at the end of the day, I will watch it and go, this isn't working, this is working. Doesn't matter. It all fades away, right? So we can't have that. We can't have a situation where you're already reviewing the film before you've seen it. That cannot exist. Because if that was the case, I would have been horrifically wrong on Babylon. Like, I'd have been so wrong that I would just say, I'm done. I'm going to retire. If I already turn in a review, this is like, I think a lot of people do that. You guys know that they go into these movies saying it's Damien Chazelle, therefore it's great. No, no. So yeah, 100%. 100%. It's like when they decided The Departed was going to be Scorsese's crown jewel. I think The Departed, now, Rusty, I don't know if you're saying, I think The Departed is a very strong film. Now, granted, I lived in Boston for a time. I am biased towards that city. I think it does a really nice job of really getting the feel of Boston. But I think it's, I mean, listen, you have Leo, you have Damon, you've got Marky Mark. You've got great performances in that. Baldwin, right? You've got all these great performances in there. And I think it's a good film. So listen, The Departed versus The Fablemans. I mean, this is not a contest. This is the referee stops after one punch. It's over. It's done. Fablemans is a TKO. It's over. We got to take you out of the ring. This isn't even a contest. Let's bring in a film that we can actually go head to head with here with The Departed, not The Fablemans. No. The Fablemans can go head to head with Babylon. Now that's a good match. Fablemans would win because it's not as putrid as Babylon. But if you put The Whale and Babylon in the ring, I mean, you have to just call the fight. I mean, there's no way. There's no way to even settle this thing. We could have 100 rounds. We're never going to know which film is worse. They're both horrifically awful. So Fablemans is a notch above that. It's a notch above atrocious. So whatever that, whatever that level is, help me out. Sophic, do you think Argo is an overrated Best Picture? Personally, I love it. I think Argo is a very strong film, delivers great emotion by the end for sure. Direction by Affleck, very good, very strong. DGA loved it, obviously, as we know. I think that it is no. I think it's a very worthy best picture. We had Argo up here for the longest time. I think I finally took it down. It's somewhere around here because it's like it's now so dated. But we still have some films up here that are old. By the way, I do want to mention I have Boyhood. You can probably barely see Boyhood. I love Boyhood. Is like let's see. What are some other old films we have up here? I try to turn them over. Right, Civil War's pretty damn old, but I mean, hello, it's MCU. It's an FYC MCU. And then there's some stuff here you can't even see at the bottom. Like I have Bombshell on here, Minari, Queen and Slim. Queen and Slim's a cool ass movie. I have that up here. It's on the wall. But everything that you guys see up here, this is the money area, right? And then everything up here is like films that I like. Empire Lights up here. You guys can't see it. It's up in the corner. Power of the Dog's up there. American Hustle, Cyrano. Some of these you can't really see. They're right on the like border. You can sort of see 1917. Florida Project's back there. Do you guys see it? It's right next to 1917. So, yeah, and now we got 2 Tars because I love Tar. I'd put up 3 Tars if I had it. We never got a Top Gun Maverick, by the way. Otherwise, it'd be up there. 5-minute warning. Let's do 5 minutes. We're going to roll this thing out nice and tight tonight because I got to get ready for tomorrow on Infinity Pool. I have a feeling tomorrow night's stream is going to be insane because I think we're going to have another Men. We're going to have another Crimes of the Future. We're going to have another Babylon. Now, I say that because I had someone that I trust who saw Infinity Pool today and said, OMG, you have no idea. And knowing my taste, this could be fun tomorrow night. Now, that said, I'm not going in. I'm going in going, Brandon Cronenberg, you are going to do for me what you almost did with Possessor, short of that kid getting his head blown off. You were almost there. I love the atmosphere of that film is very strong. Okay. It's just weird. I like weird shit, but it still has to have a story that's going to hook you in. Like, great example of a movie that's absolutely weird and I had no connection to. Beasts of the Southern Wild. Do you remember that? From back in like 2012. Ben Zeitlin, who also did, I think, that Wendy movie, which I, by the way, never got around to that. I kind of want to see it because I love the artistry of it, but I did not love the film. And I think that's the key to get that perfect mesh of weird with some kind of emotional draw to it. And it's hard. It's really hard. I got to think on that. Like films that are like, usually it's going to be an A24 or Neon film, IFC. Out there, a great example of an out there film that doesn't have any emotion to it and really bored me, even though it's really interesting at first to watch, is Skinamarink, which, as you guys know, we discussed, really cool concept as a short film, but as an hour and 40-minute, oh my God, talk about tedious. But I like the weirdness of it. I love the abstract nature of it. So hopefully tomorrow night we get something good from Brandon Cronenberg, not kids getting their head blown off. Okay. That's my hope. But if it goes sideways, you guys know that there's no better place to be than me out of a movie that has gone sideways. Go back for all of you who missed it. If you haven't, you're new to the channel, go watch. I'm not going to grab it. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm not going to grab the popcorn box. It is down on I'm going to leave it there. But go watch the stream for The Gray Man. Straight out of the premiere of that film. And that was the beginning of the end with my relationship for Netflix. Hey, you can come to the premiere and then come on the stream. And then you can destroy the film minutes after walking out. Like, wow. Okay. So this is why there'll be no more Netflix premieres for me or flights to New York to go watch movies and hang out with filmmakers. First of all, I don't give a crap. You guys know that. I really don't. I told you guys last time I was at a party, I walked in, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to go home and watch soccer. That's my life now. Alan, oh no, what? Why aren't you coming to the screen tomorrow? Come up tomorrow. We can bond over the hopefully decent Infinity Pool, but I have a feeling it's going to go sideways. But I'm not going to go in prejudging it. Just like I'm not going to overvalue a film because it's directed by a man. I know it's crazy, isn't it? That you could actually go into a movie and like it and value it for what it is versus it's fantastic because it's directed by a woman. What? Why? Tell me why. No, you can't. That's why. You can't. You can't tell me why. You can't. Because it's a movie. It's the value of the film, the merit of the film. Guys, I'm 1,000,000% right. Um, uh, Listen, I talked to Jeff on Twitter. I've never talked to him. I've seen him at the things all the time. He's here in LA. I mean, we've talked, we've DM'd before, but no, we haven't. I know he's got the same kind of edge, right? He's like hardcore, but that's the whole thing, right? That's what we do. So if that's what Jeff does too, then that's awesome. That's how it should be. I think we absolutely need more of that. We need far fewer shills. I can't do this. I can't do this again. Where I start. We were gonna have our shill of the week. I gotta gather my stuff together for shill of the week. I'm sorry, I didn't have the time to do the proper research. I know who it is. I need to have everything ready so we can start clicking on things to just make fun of quote after quote after quote of the best film ever made. You have to see it in a theater. Oh my God, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Over and over, and you're just like, okay. Okay, Shilly. Shilly. We should create a character, Shilly. That's a whole movie. Just call it Shilly. If you steal that, I swear to God, I'm coming after you. Can Maverick win Best Picture? Yes. It's those two things are not intricately intertwined, right? They're not. I think that Maverick's in for sure, and it can win on a preferential ballot, no question about it. So, if Cruise doesn't get a nomination, yeah, no question. Yes, but that will help. But I don't think it's really that important. Like, there's a lot of people that will tell you that you have to have this to have that. I don't believe that. I think we saw last year with Coda, right? Coda had very little going. I mean, it had screenplay, but it didn't have a whole lot going on supporting. Okay, it had a few, but it didn't have any director, which is the strangest thing. I told you, you guys know that. We've had whole things we talked about Coda. The most bizarre Best Picture win ever when you look at the fact that its director got zero attention during award season from any critics group. Not one, none, maybe one out of 150. That's pretty low. For your film to win Best Picture, one critics group, I don't even know if it's one, but it's very low. You said your direction is because it's not great. The direction on Coda is very marginal. I mean, it is a TV, made for TV movie. That is what Coda is. And when we look back at Coda, years on, in fact, even a year on, you say to yourself, what the hell happened? How did Coda win Best Picture? You guys know we've already. You know why? You guys know why it won. We know why it won. We know why it won. It was. I mean, from a filmmaking perspective, come on. I mean, come on. Okay. Redmayne for sure. Let's do that real quick. Let's go to supporting actor. I don't think we did that actually. It's perfect timing. Let's do it. Here's supporting actor. Listen. When we get to the supporting categories, it is always going to be a total crapshoot at those even 3, 4, 5 spots. Right now, Kwan's winning, okay? I mean, he's winning. So everyone else is just playing for the nomination. I think we get Gleason and Keegan in for sure. So that's 2 from Banshees, which I didn't think was possible. I think Barry, okay, when I came out of Banshees, you guys know I think that's a horrendously overrated film. And I think the screenplay absolutely falls apart with the removing of fingers. I will argue that all day. It took me completely out of the film. And I think Barry, as much as I appreciate what he brings to the table, I think the problem I have with him is that he leans into his eccentricities too much. So when I watch him, I see him kind of go, hey, did okay, versus, hey, it's almost like I would tell him if I was a director and I was watching him perform, I would say, can you just take this down just a little? Just bring it from an 11 to an 8. That's what I'd say. But he's here. But you guys know, give me a thumbs up because you know I'm right. You've seen him do his thing. He always does, even when he had that 2-second Joker thing. Hey, I'm the Joker. It's like, dude, just take it down a notch. Just bring it. Everyone just take it down a notch. Everything is better when you dial it back just a little bit. I mean, God knows this show, very often I'm way too dialed up. I can't control it. But as an actor, when you're doing take after take, this is a live show, you guys. I mean, I can't go back and fix all this. I mean, that would be ridiculous. Then I'd be Grace Randolph. But Barry needs to dial it down. Dial it down. I can't believe a director hasn't told him that. Paul Dano. I think he's in for sure. You got SAG, did not get BAFTA. Eddie Redmayne is in for me. So to answer your question, he's in. He's the number 5 because The Good Nurse, forgetting nothing else, it's Eddie Redmayne. He's got the pedigree, right? We're whenever you get one nomination and certainly wins, right? In his case, when you have that in your bag, you will always get the leg up on everybody else. You'll always have the advantage because they're like, oh, he's already had a nomination, so therefore, hey, it's Eddie Redmayne. I don't care if he was terrible in it. It's Eddie Redmayne. That's how it goes, right? So he's in. Now, if it's not going to be Redmayne, we'll roll down and we'll say Brad Pitt, Babylon. Brad Pitt is beloved in Hollywood. I know that there's a lot of Angelina Jolie people in that whole situation. I get it. But in general, Brad Pitt, people love him. So he could get in there. Judd Hirsch, if Judd Hirsch gets in for The Fabelmans, it'll be, I mean, you talk about he has the Grandpa Simpsons, the GIF, right? Where he comes in and puts his hat on the rack and turns around and walks right back out. That is Judd Hirsch in The Fabelmans. That does not deserve to get a supporting. It's I understand there's been supporting wins for small role. That's a no for me. Brian Tyree Henry, I'd love to see for Causeway. We've seen Critics' Choice, really a few other places for critics. Sunset Circle, we had him first. I think he's fantastic in that film. And Apple really pushed Causeway, but it's just not quite strong enough. Still, that said, Causeway's a better film than The Fabelmans. The Whale is better than Babylon. It's better than EAO for me. I mean, it's better than a lot of films, but Causeway just didn't happen. And then we have All Quiet on the Western Front. You got Albrecht sitting there. Listen, it's a film that is showing up on shortlists for Oscars. It's showing up on BAFTA. People love war films, okay? War films will always do well when it comes to awards. So, listen, if All Quiet on the Western Front sneaks in that number 10 spot over, let's go one more time to Best Picture. If it gets in, I'm not, listen, it's my number 11. I have it just out. I have Women Talking. Okay, stop advertising for soccer jerseys. Who is this person? By the way, tonight's kid, I didn't get to it tonight. We went all the way to the Philippines for this. Lampang FC. It's like, wow, this is where we're going. It actually is perfect for the show. The show is niche. So the fact that we have a Thai, it's a Thai team, my bad. A Thai team, Lampang, this makes perfect sense. Let's go to Best Picture and look one more time at it, because this is the big one, right? Okay, yes, Under Armour, I'll shop for you later. Women Talking's my number 10 film in. Everything above Women Talking's in for sure, okay? So everything you see on your screen right now is in, okay? All of those are in. The number 10 film for me is going to be Women Talking. It has SAG. It did not get BAFTA, okay? Yes, and I understand. Yeah, but remember, BAFTA only has 5 films, and we're talking about the number 10 film. So remember that. But guess what did get BAFTA? My number 11 film, All Quiet on the Western Front. I think it's between those two films for the number 10 spot. For me, I'm taking Women Talking. I think All Quiet is definitely better than a lot of these films. But for me, better than Avatar, better than EAO, better than Banshees. But in just looking through the awards lens, based on what we've seen so far, I think it's so close. But I think Glass Onion's in. It's been very, listen, that film has a ton of views on Netflix. It's been watched. And at the end of the day, if your film was watched, that goes a long way towards getting a nomination, right? That's just like Maverick, who I have at number 2. Maverick is the number 2 film on my list. Not EAO. It's number 4. I think Banshees, and then, so right now, everyone who's saying EAO is going to win, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. I'm going Fabelmans, I'm going Maverick, and I'm going Banshees, and then I'm going Everything Everywhere. As you guys saw, Banshees beat everything at Golden Globes. That said, it doesn't, that I'm not saying that's everything, but it's just it's a good example. Head to head, those two films, both in comedy, you saw Banshees win. So that's what I have. That's what we have. We're going to know on Tuesday morning, whether it's live here on Film Threat. You're going to see me in front of this mic, in front of this set on Tuesday morning at 5 in the morning here. 5 in the morning. So I want you guys to absolutely be here. I mean, for most of you, it's not going to be 5 a.m. So, you have no excuse not to be here or on Film Thread. I'll let you know. Check the Twitter. I'll probably let you guys know the night before here on the thing. Tomorrow night, maybe I'll have a better idea tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we're going to review Infinity Pool. That's it. Maybe it's a 20-minute stream. It depends on how I feel about the film. It's going to be tight because I got to get ready for the Oscar show. Edward Berger could. You're right, it could. But I still think it's very difficult to go against the 5 DGA. I like that 5. I think it makes the most sense for me. That's the 5 I thought we'd have pretty much the whole way. I think at one time I didn't even have the Daniels I am at number 6, but at this point they have to obviously be in there. But I think it's going to be Spielberg to win. It should be Todd Field. I can't. And then Cameron's out. I mean, listen, I say it again. We go back to the top of the stream. Has there ever been a $2 billion film that is less discussed than Avatar: The Way of Water? I want to leave you with that thought here tonight. Alan, Fabelman's, it's not a better film. It's definitely not a better film than EO. I mean, there's no chance. No. I mean, Fabelman's is not. EO has a lot of good going for it, but yeah. So, has there ever been another $2 billion film that no one discusses? Like, come on, be honest with me as we get ready to leave the stream here tonight. Your final thought. I feel like this is the thing with that Stuart Smalley from SNL where he says, here's your final moment. Has there ever been a $2 billion movie that has had less discussion about it than Avatar 2? I mean, nobody talks about Avatar. Nobody discusses the film. They talk the visuals. They talk the, sensory experience. But they don't go, my God, Avatar 2, let's discuss that. Because there's nothing to discuss. It's not a great film. I love that it's at $2 billion. I am so thrilled because I want to see movies succeed everywhere. Okay? Number 1 theatrical champion, me. But, I mean, this is a film that no one's talking about. It's insane to me. It's like, nobody's talking about it. Yeah, exactly, Rusty. No one could shut up about Titanic. No, even Avatar, people were buzzing. No one is talking about Avatar 2. Avatar 1, not one person I know is talking about Avatar 2, other than they're excited to see it hit $2 billion. No one has discussions about this film because it's not good. It's fine. It's not a great film, man. These are two different things, though. Happy it got $2 billion. Not a great film. I mean, this is not my kind of filmmaking. If we're going to go down I can't. That's just like, I can't. I'm going to go into, I got to make it short. I would rather sit through 100 small, strange indie films than have to watch Avatar 3. It just doesn't even move my soul. Like, I don't understand how that moves people. It's so just, the storytelling is so just generic. It's like McDonald's movie making. I don't care if it looks good. It just has no soul. It's a soulless film. It's like asking us to live in the metaverse. No, I prefer living in the real world. I don't want to live on Pandora. And one other thing I want to say, I almost took a picture of it. I'm so angry I didn't. I'm at Walmart today. Yeah, yes, I still shop at Walmart. The single best sparkling soda in the universe is right here. It is Clear American. I don't know why I tell you guys that, because you end up buying it and I can't find it when I go. It's unbelievable. But they actually had Frosted Flakes, Pandora Flakes, which are, right, the blue flakes, blue marshmallows with Frosted Flakes. I'm like, what a healthy thing that is. But what I laughed at is that it was like an end cap, right? You guys go into the grocery store, and at the end they have what they're trying to sell. The entire thing was full. No one had touched the Pandora Flakes. And this gets right back to what I told you guys. It is the quietest $2 billion film I've ever seen in my entire life, nor will ever see. A film that nobody is excited about. It's the weirdest thing. Like, hey, by the way, there's this movie that made $2 billion, but nobody is talking about it. Nobody. The 3D was cool, even though I didn't want to see it. They canceled the 3D. Yeah, I guess the 3D, but even that, I mean, come on. Alex, last thing, then we're gonna roll out of here. RR was one of my favorites this year, and seeing Avatar, I have a guarantee. Yes, I 100%. RRR should be celebrated much more than Avatar. I mean, yes, but RR is not getting in. I pray, man, boy, I would come on and be very excited. I know that India, good lord, that entire country will lose their shit if that happens. But I just want to manage expectations and tell you guys it's not going to happen. Okay, it's like the 14th film at this point, maybe 15. So for it to jump from 15 to 10, that's tough. To jump from 11 to 10 to 12 to 10, 13, that's manageable, right? When we look at those films that are battling for that last spot, that's a women talking, that's Babylon. Oh my God, I can't. If it's Babylon, I swear to God, if it's Babylon. If it's fucking Babylon. But women talking, All Quiet on the Western Front, The Whale. These films are all going for that number 10 spot. Because I think Black Panther's in and Avatar. So you look at that 10 spot, it's very hard to go from 15 to 10. It's easy to go from 11 or 12. So I think RR's not happening, okay? So if someone says it's happening, please call them on it. Either way, if it happens, then celebrate that. But if it doesn't happen, make sure you go tell that person, what were you're just saying that for likes. If I wanted to, I'd come on here and say, and then you guys would all come after me the day after. I want to be wrong this time. I've been wrong, not very often. But I want to be wrong. I want to come on here Tuesday morning or on Film Threat and say, I was wrong. RR got in. I didn't think it would happen. But if that happens, and we'll talk just briefly about it tomorrow night. If that happens, it will be, I'm telling you why that's going to happen. Because the PR push by the person in charge of that film here in Los Angeles, the full court press, the all-out assault that they put on Hollywood to get that film into the best picture conversation, that is why it will get in if it does. No one else is saying that. No one else is smart enough to figure that out, nor do they have the inside information that I possess. Sorry, truth. So if it happens, that's why it happened. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, that's why. And that's why you guys are here. Alan, okay. It looks like I probably am going to go on with Film Threat. But I'm going to warn you, Alan. You know this. If I come on, we're gonna have to attack Chris. You and I will have to personally go after Chris for his love of Babylon, for sure. For the first half hour before they actually go through with the nominations, we're gonna savage Chris Gore on his love of a film that he's now seen 3 times. The number 2 worst film of 2022. Babylon. If it gets a Best Picture nomination, it's over. I am retiring. The show's done. We are canceled. It's done. I can't do it. I will come on and just literally, I don't think there are enough. My neighbors are going to be like, dude, across the street, they're going to be yelling, you need to settle down. That's what it'll be. That'll be on if Babylon gets in. I am going to go nuclear. All right, it's time to get out of here on this Sunday night. Thanks for being here on MMT. Back tomorrow night. Tight stream tomorrow. The only thing we're discussing is the new Brandon Cronenberg film, Neon's Infinity Pool. I'll be out of the film. Reaction, no spoilers, but there's also not an embargo, so we can go all in on Infinity Pool tomorrow night. Until then, live from Los Angeles, Eric Weber out on this Sunday. Good night. See you tomorrow night here on